All Blacks hosting Tonga from Hamilton. That is the game tomorrow. I have got the Tongan gear on today. It's new. It's new for me. I only got it last week, so I figure I'll put on the Tongan gear. I usually wear the home team, but I've got the Tongan gear on today. I probably won't wear it to the game because I'm going to that game tomorrow. I will wear the All Blacks gear tomorrow, but it should be a good game. It's the last game for these teams in preparation for the Rugby World Cup. For the All Blacks guys especially, it's the last game on home soil for a few of them, like to Kieran Reid, Ben Smith, Matt Todd. These guys are going abroad at the end of the Rugby World Cup, so kind of special moment for them, I guess. And I will put the teams in the description so you guys can have a look, both the Tongan team and the All Blacks team. It's an interesting one because it should give a slight indication into how these teams are going to play at the Rugby World Cup, but perhaps not with how many of the guys, especially the All Blacks guys, are out with injuries. Tongan guys are resting a few as well. So the All Blacks have returned Ben Smith to fullback. I know a lot of fans will be pretty happy with that. He's been spending a lot of time on the right wing, but they've got him back at fullback for this one. Hansen in his press conference talked about him having lost a wee bit of confidence, so kind of going back to basics with him, putting him back to that position that he knows, which means Beauden Barrett is at 10. Moonga, I think, has got a niggle with his shoulder, so he's not able to play, so they're keeping him wrapped up in cotton wool. So it's Beauden and Ben at 10 and 15. Sevu, Reece and George Bridge return on the wing, same as that Bledisloe 2 game. So there's always that question, are they going to go with the guys who are in form or the guys who are there historically with the reputation? They're going with the in-form guys. But again, Rieko Ioane is one of the guys who's also had a wee bit of injury trouble. So it's kind of hard to draw too many conclusions from this All Black squad as to whether they will start these guys at World Cup time. Midfield is Ryan Crotty at 12 and ALB at 13. And again, Sonny Bill has a calf strain, so he's another one who's not available. If you're Nani Lamape, you have to be looking at this thinking, I'm fit and I'm able, I'm playing for Manawatu. But yeah, not in the World Cup squad. TJ Perenara is starting with Aaron Smith on the bench, so that's an interesting one. They have got Josh Ioane on the bench, who has not been selected for the World Cup squad, but they're kind of keeping him with the team at the moment, keeping him, I guess, ready to go if he needs to get called up. So he'll make his debut if he comes on, and they've got Aaron Smith on the bench with him. So Steve Hansen kind of said that's 10% of the reason that Aaron Smith's on the bench, but Aaron Smith's just had a kid, so that's the main reason. But yeah, it'd be nice, I guess, for Josh if he comes on with Aaron inside him. It makes it just a bit more comfortable because he'll be used to playing with him. In the forwards, you've got Moody, Taylor, and Laulala in the front row. So that's a pretty strong-looking outfit. And Liam Coltman is on the bench. Dane Coles is not playing for this one. Sam Whitelock and Patrick Tuipulotu start in the second row. It's an interesting one because, obviously Brodie Retallick is injured. So he needs to keep sitting out games until he can get himself fit. I also forgot to mention that Jack Goodhue is got an injury niggle as well, so he's that's part of the reason he's not in the midfield at 13. But yeah, Scott Barrett's on the bench. He's finished his suspension. Ta'avao and Tuungafasi are the propping replacements. So we'll see how they go. Ta'avao, I think, is going to prefer playing on tight head because he had a wee bit of bother there with the loose head, so we'll leave that to offer. Back row, Savea, Matt Todd, and Kieran Reid. Matt Todd is perhaps in because Sam Cane also has a wee bit of a niggling injury. So there's lots of guys who are, perhaps if it was a World Cup final, would be playing, but in prep for the World Cup are having a wee rest. So that's what I mean by it's kind of hard to get a feel for how this team is going to stack up compared to the side that takes the field against the Springboks in a few weeks. For Tonga, they have made a few changes from that game last week. Like Kurt Morath, he starts at number 10. That guy, as I said in the previous video, has been around for a long time and he continues his run. Halaifonua is in at 15. Vuna's moved to the wing, so I guess it's kind of more familiar where most New Zealand fans are used to seeing him. Lolohea is on the other wing. Hingano is in at 13. And I actually sat there and watched the highlights package of his from his time in Japan and his time in France. And I'm looking forward to seeing him run at Crotty, because he's a powerful runner and Crotty's a pretty good defender. But with Crotty's injury proneness, I'll be watching anytime those guys come into contact. Siale Pietau's had to move in to 12 for this one. He captains the side. And Takalua is still at 9. In the front row, Fisi'ihoi, Maile, or is it Maile? Correct me on the pronunciation for that one. And Halaifonua are the front row. This guy, the hooker, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Siua Maile? I don't know. Whatever his name is correctly pronounced, but apologies for that. He plays club rugby in Christchurch, and he's making his debut against the All Blacks in New Zealand. So that is pretty tough for a guy who's playing club rugby. Apparently he works part-time as like a roofer. So they've got other guys available at hooker, but they're not risking Nasi Manu. So yeah, this guy's getting a run. Sam Lausi and Liva Fafita are in the second row. Kalamafoni, Lokotui and Vaipulu round out the back row. So yeah, Fukafuka's on the bench for this one. It is going to be interesting. I had a look at the squads, because the last time I've seen Tonga play the All Blacks, and I put last 5, it's 5-0 to New Zealand. They've only played 5 times, which is pretty shocking when you consider the All Blacks have played France like 60 times. It's a bit disappointing they don't play each other more. Average score over those 5 games, 65-7, but a lot of those would be pretty old results, to be fair. Hopefully this one is a wee bit closer. The last game I've seen between these two teams was New Zealand 41, Tonga 10, and that was at the 2011 Rugby World Cup, the opening game. So yeah, I was at that one. There's a few players who were playing in that game who are still around. Sonny Bill is one. Sam Whitelock was on the bench for that one. He was still behind Ali Williams and Brad Thorne, although I think he went on to play most of the Rugby World Cup games as the starting guy, but for that game he was on the bench. So yeah, a couple All Blacks were in that one, and Kurt Marath, Siale Pietau and Kalamafoni were all playing for Tonga in that game as well. So there's still a few old horses who are about all these years later. Rugby forecast, the algorithm has New Zealand by 38 points in this one. The TAB, the bookies have got them by 49. So they're picking the All Blacks to run riot. I hope it is a fair bit closer than that. I'm also hoping for fine weather, seeing as I'm not sitting under cover. But hey, if it's a good game, that is the main thing, rain or shine. They're also not risking Ben Tamiafuna for this one. It's a pity for him because he used to play for the Chiefs. It would have been nice to see him back in the Waikato. But yeah, not to be. So yeah, it should be a good game. I'm enjoying this Tonga jersey. It fits pretty comfortably. It was pretty hard to find actually, but I did manage to get one. You guys let me know your thoughts on the game. How do you think this one is going to play out? Do you think it's going to blow out like Rugby Forecast and like the bookies are predicting, or do you think the Tongans might bring something to keep it a wee bit closer? Let's hope everybody stays injury free and the Tongan hooker has a good debut, even if it is a pretty tough one. But yeah, you guys let me know your thoughts. I'll talk to you again soon. See you later.